my beautiful people, welcome to my channel. So my mom is going to be preparing Owho soup. Now if you don't know how to prepare Owho soup, this video is for you. Enjoy and subscribe for more. So guys, we started off by adding adequate amount of water depending on the quantity of soup. So next we added our ground pepper in the water. As you can see, it's already in the water, and followed by our red oil. I advise you use Urhobo oil, but if you can't find it, you can use the regular oil. And next we're going to cover and allow our mixture to boil. Now while we wait for it to boil, we're just going to get adequate quantity of garri, and we're going to soak it in water for it to swell. And after that, we're going to add it to our water, to our mixture once it starts boiling, and we're going to give it a good mix. So guys, the reason why we soaked our garri in water and why we waited for the mixture to get boiled is because we don't want any lump in our soup, and also we want the garri to be well incorporated in our mixture. So after this, you give it a good stir and then you cover it for it to boil. So you check the mixture from time to time and then you mix to avoid lumps. So guys, for this soup we are using snail, periwinkle, cow leg, bomo, dry catfish and tiko, that is dried meat. We're also using crayfish, so that because we want the soup to be very rich. Actually, I am the one that wants the soup to be very rich, so that's why we're adding all this orishi. But if you cannot afford periwinkle and snail, it's fine, you cook it like that. It's not compulsory for you to add periwinkle and snail, but your Owho soup is incomplete without crayfish and your dry fish. Make sure you are using a lot of crayfish and dry fish. So guys, once your mixture is boiling very well, just as seen in the video, you add your crayfish, and after adding your crayfish, you add your dry meat or your fresh meat, whichever one you are using, and then you stir your mixture evenly. So you all can see that the soup is already starting to give what it's supposed to give. Oh my god. So next we proceed to adding our native salt and our potash. So guys, we are not going to be using our regular potash here. We are going to be using what we call Ajija potash or Ajija account. That is what we are going to be using. So you can see we are pounding it in the mortar, and after pounding we are going to mix it in our starch. The reason why we are mixing in our starch is because we are using a small pot and we want the starch to quench the power of the potash, so we don't want it to boil all over the place. So guys, you can mix it with your starch if you don't want it to boil all over the place, or you can decide to go the other way. So guys, this is our starch and we are going to try to melt it. We are just going to give it some massage to melt it, so that by the time we add water and our Ajija account mix with our ugweru, it will be easy to dissolve. Again guys, we are going to add our ugweru, also known as native salt. We are going to take some quantity depending on your soup, and we are going to pound it alongside with the Ajija account. Note, we are not going to be adding regular kitchen salt to this soup. Although some people add it, it's optional, but we are not going to be adding it in this recipe because it makes the soup to melt quickly. So that is why we are substituting it for our native salt, which is locally called ugweru. So after pounding, we added a little quantity of water to mix and to make sure the potash and ugweru are well incorporated into the water. The reason why we are not adding it directly is because potash carries sand, so we don't want sand inside our soup. So we're just going to pour the water inside the starch and we're going to leave the residue in the mortar. And guys, we are going to be adding our periwinkle and snail into the soup. Now, snail and periwinkle is not compulsory, it's just sweet mouth. So if you are the type you don't like snail, periwinkle, just freestyle it, forget about it. You don't need to add it, okay? So after adding, give it a good mix. Make sure you are mixing it evenly. We don't want to see lump in our soup. So guys, as you can see, we're adding our potash and ugweru mixture to the starch. And the reason why we are doing this, like I said earlier, is because we don't want the soup to boil all over the place because of the power of the potash. So we are using the starch to counter the power of the potash. So next we proceed to adding the mixture of starch and potash were inside our soup. Now guys, this is a sound warning. After adding your starch and potash mixture to the soup, please guys, don't cover the soup. If you cover the soup, just forget about it. The soup will be ruined. So after adding again, we give it a good mix to make sure everything is well incorporated. Now you can see the soup is already giving what it is supposed to give, like guys. So we are going to allow to cook and mix, and next we are gonna be adding our dried fish. Guys, tell me, what is Owho soup without dry fish? Like, if you are not adding dry fish and enough crayfish to your Owho soup, forget about it. Don't even think about cooking Owho soup, because your Owho soup is incomplete without your dry fish and your crayfish. Yes, it is incomplete. Now, after adding our dry fish, we are going to give it a good mix again. And don't forget, please guys, don't cover your soup. Don't be tempted to cover your soup, otherwise it will be ruined. It will turn to water. Let me tell you, don't cover it. Lastly, we are going to be adding our Maggi. Now, the reason we are using this quantity of Maggi is because we did not add our kitchen salt to the food. Instead, we added our native salt, so we need something to complement it, and that is why we are using this quantity of Maggi seasoning cube for the soup. And finally, we are going to be mixing the soup to make sure our Maggi is well mixed inside the soup. And guys, you just leave it to cook for a while, and ta-da! Our soup is ready, and you can serve with starch or yam or eba, whichever one you like. Now, thank you guys for watching. If you have not clicked on the subscribe button, please do so for more videos. I love you guys. Bye bye.